Hello. I'm hoping that I'm on. This is Raquel with Paints and Glitter. I'm checking to see if I can do a live really quick here. Hi, Nolan. Thank you for being here. Let me know if you can hear me. You can tell that this is a really uh, improvised setup here. I'm going to try to see how I can do this without knocking over my camera and etc. etc. So I was trying to focus my camera, but I don't know that I have a very good focus here. We'll see what I can do. I'm going to quickly type here just because I don't know if you can hear me or not. But if you are watching and you can hear me, let me know. I can adjust my volume somehow. I turned it up a little bit. So I do have a few people here. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just coming along to say a quick hello and chat a little bit about the current releases that are out. Um, oh, wonderful. No worries. I also am not able to make them a lot of the time. So, yeah, so this is today's release. This is what I have in front of us here. And on my end, it looks like it's blurry, but I don't know if that's the case for you. Let me see if that's just my connection because it very well could be. Oh, tells me I have HD, so I don't know. But in any case, this is the new release today from Tonic Studios. It's the Trinket box, and it's the family tree Trinket box to be correct. And it does allow you to create, as you see here, a box of actually multiple sizes. But if you're not familiar with the kits, they don't only come with the dies to create your makes, they actually come with a lot more. So let me go ahead and grab, I'm going to reach over to grab. Yeah, it's a little trinket box. So I think it's really cute. Bear with me 1 second. And let me know if it's out of focus. I'll try to fix that. Oh, hello, Dina. Long time no see. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. It's a very impromptu last minute live, but I wanted to come along and say hello because I was not going to be able to hop on here the rest of the week. I've got quite the workload this month. So I hope all is well with you guys, by the way. And so Lynn, Dawn is actually Dina. She shares an account with her husband, so I'm making room here, guys, because I do have to set this aside and then just kind of work my way through this box here. So if you weren't able to catch the live earlier today, because I do believe they did one, but you're very welcome. I wasn't able to catch that video either. I was not even home, so the time of the live videos doesn't always coincide with, you know, US crafters versus UK, and that's okay. Not a problem, because that's the whole reason there's a team, right? So let me just go ahead and fix this right quick, as we say. I just wanted to show you all that's included in case anyone rewatches this. And by the way, you guys, that's my husband saying hi. So this here is the actual collection of dies. So let me just give you a quick pan here. You get the tree, you get the shadow, and then you get a bunch of little goodies that come along with it. So if you've already seen, of course, the photos shared in the group by the ladies, the lovely ladies from the design team, they have shared a lot of different ideas for you to use this set. For instance, I've seen that this little oval here, which I think makes perfect sense, along with this little label, and I cut my nails, so now I can't grab anything. So the little label and this little oval, for instance, can be what you use if you would like to add photography to this make and add to each little tree a family member with a tiny little photo. So you can certainly do that. You can make it ultra whimsical with the little birds, butterflies, flowers, bows. There's the little kitty cat and dog. And then there's also this darling little kite. So let me set that aside a moment here because I'm going to show you what that looks like when it's all said and done. But there's that little piece there and the tail. And then there are these pieces here that you can cut if you want to decorate the center of that kite. But there's also this little die, which I happen to have backwards here. But this one here, that is the type of die that we call a verso die. It doesn't cut the edges of your paper. It just is used in conjunction always with another die. But if you use it as an embossing plate, then it'll deboss into your paper. And if you're using mirror card particularly, it's very noticeable and very pretty. But there's a little leaf here, a little cluster of flowers. There's this little guy here. This is meant to be the base of the tree. And then there are these items that allow you to create what will be the trinket, which is the little drawer. It's created with this piece here. The base of the box. These squares are also for the drawer. These triangles I'll show you in a moment. And then this is your side panel. And this allows you to have what I would call a frame for inside of the box, so that way it doesn't collapse, which I thought was really smart. I at first thought it was a hinge, and then I realized quickly, oh no, it is not a hinge. So anyway, that's the die set, which in and of itself is a great value. If you're not familiar with Tonic Studios dies, and you just happen to be peeking in here because you're curious as to what this video is all about, then that is only one of the components of the kit, which you can become a subscriber of if you wish to do so. However, you can purchase a one-off kit. By the way, all links that I am referring to will be in the description bar of all of my videos. So as a matter of fact, let me see if I can add them to the live so that you guys are not searching for them. And whatchamacallit, bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna just go to that video and then I'll show you, I'll talk about the stamps for a moment. I'm just gonna grab some links right quick, and that should take me no more than 1 minute here. Here we go. Okay, so here are the links in reference, and hopefully those are usable links. Hello and welcome, Heather. Please let me know, by the way, if you ever click on one of my links and are not able to use it, by all means email me, because I do verify my links before I share them in groups or wherever. So on occasion I get people saying, you know, the link did not work, and it's good for us to know because it could be not on our end, it could be on the end of the actual website. And that's really important for us to know because obviously a broken link is useless, right? So enough of that. But in any case, so to make this little trinket box, I just showed you the dies. So that will allow you to create, I'm going to show you the kite that I was referring to. This little kite here, which hopefully it's in focus there. But that's what you can do with that little die that I was describing. It presses into that paper. Oh, I know, Heather. I feel like a missing fingers now. I have a very short attention span when it comes to the manicures, so they don't last long. I switch them up quite quickly. And I don't know, have a little bit of a problem wanting to match nail colors to paper. So that's an issue. But I never said I was normal. Just kidding. So the other little things in this kit are the little puppy dog and the little kitty cat. And at first I thought, why are there animals in this? I was a bit confused, I'm not gonna lie. But I got to realizing that um sometimes people like to um, have a sympathy card, for instance, for someone who has lost a pet. And I see a lot of Facebook posts in reference to that. And people are saying, I need ideas. My friend's dog passed away, or my friend's cat passed away. And, it's always a huge heartbreak when that happens, of course. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's what that was in, I'm thinking that that was why these were included. Although, of course, we treat our animals like family here in the United States, so that's always a good thing. But you could definitely make a little sympathy card, for instance, if you ever need one, of course, and hopefully that doesn't happen often, but should you need one for someone who's lost a pet, because there is that little stamp here that says with sympathy, sending lots of love. And of course, you could use that on a card and then, fill in the blanks, right? But having said that, there's always the little ways to decorate these items. And so there's that little bird, there's these tiny, tiny little butterflies. Um, and yeah, as much as we try to fit all of the different ways that you could use these kits and items into a video, because long format videos are not for everyone. Not everyone wants to watch a 1 hour video. Not everyone wants to watch a 30-minute video. So we have this bit of a challenge when we create content for you guys, especially if it's a tutorial. Now, if it's a tutorial, I'm expecting that the reason you're watching that video is because you just want to see me make that. And having been first a customer of Tonic Studios and now a creator, then I want to make sure that I meet your expectation, that I share with you as if it were your first introduction how it is that you are going to assemble any 3D item, because I don't want to assume that you already know how to do so. So if my videos are a little bit long, it's because of that. The other thing is that there are people who learn differently. So I like to try to explain things as basic as possible, because not everyone learns the way that I do. So I'd like to take that into account as well. Bonnie, thank you for being here, sweetie. You know what? I'm better than I deserve. That's how I'm answering that these days. I'm better than I deserve. So, oh, well, thank you, Heather. That's great feedback, because I know that they can be a bit redundant for those who are not new to crafting. So I'm going to shimmy this over a tiny bit in hopes that it doesn't fall, but because I want to get rid of that little black shadow in the corner. Um, so if they ever are, I always tell people, use the little cog in the corner of the video. Take advantage of that. Speed me up 2 times, honey. You don't need to listen to everything I have to say, or skip through the moment you get the gist of what I'm doing. And sorry, I got interrupted there for a second, so I'm gonna have to make this video quite quick. So yeah, so there's that. The other thing is that for this kit, the one thing that stood out to me, aside from the stamps, which are darling, there's, if you love family events, this is a perfect collection of stamps. There's also the little rub-ons. So if you're not familiar with these, which I think most of you are, these are for foil fusion is what they're calling it, which means that you fuse your paper with the foil. However, foil transfer, I think I'm using the wrong terminology here. Mamma mia, I'm looking for the other one. I want to show you guys a pretty one. Here it is, so that you're not looking at this. I was looking for this. So that this is what the sheets look like, okay? Now, what I love about this kit in particular is that in the past, when they included the foil transfer sheets, which is what they're called, they didn't include the stamps. This time they've done both. So Tonic Studios listens to your feedback. I love that. As a company, the fact that they really, really try to make everybody happy is super awesome. So the foil fusion allows you to do things such as this. I would never. I missed something, I think. So this is how that is transferred. It's like a little sticker. You place it on your paper, and then you put the foil on top and you rub it on there. And I'm sorry I put the foil away, but it looks like foil, like any foil. You rub it on there and then it transfers that really beautiful shine. It makes it look as if the paper already came like that, which I think is fabulous. So this was the super simple card I made in my video. And then there's this other card that I also made. And this one could be far more elegant than I made it. I'm going to be completely honest, the color wave in this kit was not my preference. Not to say that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that I'm not all that comfortable working with this color palette when it comes to paper because there's only so much that my brain can do with it. However, I did find it to be quite elegant. The shimmer powder that's included will allow you to color your paper like this. And please, please, please be sure to check out all of the other ladies' tutorials and photos and it's reels and all that, because you're going to see how beautiful everyone really took advantage, I think, of this particular product, which is the shimmer powder, because it transforms your paper into that lovely shine. This, by the way, here is the second color of foil available in the kit. So I wanted to give you a sample of both. You're going to get that rose one and then that, it's called pewter, I believe, pewter gray. And then here is the inside of that card, which I left this open here, thinking you could write a sentiment there. However, I explained in the video, you could certainly adhere that together if it bothers you. But the other thing that came to mind, and of course, hindsight, was that you could use this in a memory book. Okay, so let's pretend this is a page and then do one of these biddies so that your tree is purposely 3D and pops out of the page like that. And then on here, you could have whatever you would like. You could even add a frame that you would adhere to that portion of the tree and then just have a really fun page. So I wanted to mention that. So, oh, thank you, Dina. Oh, you would never? Yeah, right, Bonnie. I would. I would speed me up. You'd be like, sound like a wild turkey. But, you know, whatever can get you through it, you know. So, the other thing was that the colors here are all because of the colors that were included in the kit. And so that explains the combination there. However, you can definitely tinker with this. There's also the Le Pen. I'm looking for it. I put everything away, of course, and then that's how it goes. You clean up and then you can't find anything. Here it is, right in front of me. Okay. The pen included is the Midas Touch. Now, I don't know if Tonic's going to have different colors of these particular mediums in the kits. Sometimes that happens where it's an either or, but you may get the Midas Touch. If you do, this is going to be the golden color that you can use on your paper, and that is on these little flowers there. It's kind of hard to see here, but hopefully you guys can see that that paper, it started off as white, but it does have that golden shimmer there. And the other thing is that the box, of course, you can create with however many papers you happen to have, which I think is wonderful. So that way, if you like the little drawers that you add, then you can more, you know, absolutely is what I should say, add more drawers, more stacks of these. And I did see one sample that I thought was phenomenal. I think it might have been Susan who made it, that did a 4-tiered little box. And someone, I may have been her as well, that did the tree portion or this die cut right on each little level. So she adhered it to the actual pieces of the box lid and the sides. Oh my gosh, that blew my mind. I thought it was so gorgeous, which is one of the, you know, reasons why it's really great to see everyone's samples, because one thing that one person might not think of, another one will. And you get to collect all of these ideas. And if you would like to, you can even note them down in your little folder that you receive with your project, or products, I should say. You know, you could add a little post-it note in here and add the different ideas that you saw in videos, and then reference the person if you want to. And then that way, when you go to craft with it, you can say, oh yeah, Vicky made this or Rosh made that. You know what I mean? And that could be a really great way to just tinker and play with your products. If you're a person that likes to do a one-off project to get acquainted with the items before you actually commit to what you want to make. And I know there's a lot of us out there like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wanted to just bring that to you and let you know that there should be a tutorial for this in particular coming up on Tonic Studios YouTube channel. I don't have it on my own. I can post it on my channel should that be a necessity for them, but it should be shortly on there, and that could be a couple of days. It depends on the workload on their end. The other thing that I was going to mention is that if you haven't already seen the videos, there's the one for these. These were quite popular, the seasonal wreath. And if you haven't checked that out, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, I highly recommend that you do, because you know, Christmas is coming up, there's Thanksgiving coming up, and these would be quite handy for any gift giving ideas. Again, also the samples are just amazing from the team, and the paper collection, of course, comes with not only the fall and Christmas, which I did because of the time of year, but there's also Easter or spring. And then there's the more summery kind, which does have the little watering can and lots of lavenders and purples and lots of florals and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much. So these were a blast to make, I have to say. The papers come with the die set, by the way. So if you like a bundled deal, this one will come with the papers, and it's also going to come with foil, which I was not sent that, and that's why my samples don't contain that. But as I always say, be sure to check out the team's samples, whether it be on the official Facebook page for Tonic Studios or their personal pages. But I believe there's a playlist on the YouTube channel with all of the ladies' samples, so that way you can go ahead and check those out. And they are magnificent. I have to tell you, the every time that I look at all of the other samples, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had thought of that. But it's a lot of fun. And those are, you know, oh, let me show you. Someone asked me how big this was as far as the bottom portion was concerned, because she had a very great idea, and I wish I had used it in my video, which was to create this as a solid base and eliminate the center portion just for something different. And you can absolutely do that. So this is 6 inches in diameter. So if you have a 6-inch circle die, you can create that. However, if not, then you would still have to create a ring. And what I mean is adhere the 4 pieces, place it on top of a solid piece of card and trace around it, and then you would have to cut that 4 times, because you would need it for the base twice and you would need it for the lid twice. And then you could still use the dies included to create your wreath portion. There's just so much you can do. But in any case, if that is what you decide to do and create a solid center, you could even put someone's photo in there, like a family photo, and have that be your little Christmas family send-along gift that you give to everyone, and then just put some cookies inside. Because you would have to make smaller cookies for that, which is fine, or chocolates, whatever people are into, right? So yeah, many, many ideas, lots of different ways that you can use the creativity that God gave you, for crying out loud. And I think that that's going to be the end of this video, because I have to go. But don't forget to leave comments in the videos, leave thumbs up. This is the other little video that is out there that's most recent as far as Tonic Studios is concerned on my channel. So of course I'm going to plug that as well. I'm hoping that everyone is enjoying the content. However, if there's anything that I may have missed or that you have questions about, feel comfortable sending me a message or leaving me a comment, all of that good stuff. I try to address everything as fast as I possibly can. So, yeah. So that way, if you have any concerns or anything, let me know. Or any feedback that I can pass along, I'm happy to do that as well. Because like I said, Tonic Studios takes into account a lot of what the customers tell them. And then, that way, if there's something that you would like to see in the future, we all let them know as well. And yeah, and they come up with really awesome things like these, right? So I hope that you guys have a fabulous evening. Thank you so much for having stopped by. And yeah, I hope to see you guys very soon in my next video, which I think is coming up maybe later on this week. I can't remember now. But you guys have a blessed evening, and thank you so much for taking a little time to be here with me today. Ciao, ciao.